sorry. The head.
Have you signed that?
You have way too much fun with your show.
I'm having fun today because this is a fun event. Actually, a very serious transmission. There you go.
I signed it.
Oh, he already signed it. Look there. Mark, want to get Mark to sign
Yes.
it?
Yeah?
Thank you.
Kenny Romar tonight's going to be doing an interview with this alien. Kenny told me he's doing UFOs tonight. That's why.
Oh, that's right. He's doing Stephenville.
Hey, I might ask you about the mainstreaming of it now with Larry King Live talking about it. Yeah, they're kind of making us passé, but now we're always going to the cutting edge. Just looking into your crystal ball the next year, the next 2 years, I mean, you saw this a long time ago coming when you really started shifting some of the format of Coast to Coast AM, into, I mean, the really hardcore, up-to-date news and analysis with what's happening with the New World Order. Well, first off, why did you start shifting the show quite a few degrees into that 5 years ago?
I had to. I had to be responsible. I could not go on the air every night and talk about the fun, entertaining, and provocative things that we always do and still do, but things are too serious now. I mean, I love talking about UFOs. I love talking about ghosts. I love talking about Bigfoot. It's the staple of the program. But if you do that every night, on a mass audience basis that Coast to Coast has, millions of listeners, 500 stations, XM satellite, Streamlink, and do not touch on the issues that affect our lives, we are wasting airwaves and we are wasting our ability to change. And I could not go back on myself and say, George, come on now. This world is way too serious. We have got to make some change. We've got to make an imprint in life. And that's why I decided to make that change.
George, I think you really did, in a lot of ways, open doors for people in the alternative media, because since you've been bringing on people to your 16 million plus audience every night, I have just seen so many changes, and I talk to so many people on the street when I'm in England or Mexico or New York City, and they say, well, I first started waking up to the New World Order listening to George Noory and the guest he was having on. I mean, what does that feel like, A, and B, I mean, are you aware of the big effect you've had?
You wake up every morning and you pinch yourself and you say, are we really doing this? Are we really having this kind of an effect? But Alex, I got to tell you, the compliment goes to you, because years ago, when I started getting emails from listeners saying, you've got to listen to this Alex Jones guy, and as you well know, I poo-pooed it right away because you were a talk show host, and I didn't want to put you on, but I started listening to you. I took the due diligence to listen to you, and I said, George, you have got to be above this. He's got his own talk show. So what? His message needs to be heard by a larger audience.
Well, I have to say, no other national talk show host would do that, and much less the second most listened to talk show host after Limbaugh in the country. That takes a lot of confidence to be able to do that.
Well, and we did. And you've made a world of difference, not only for the Coast listeners, but I think for this country, because what has happened to you is the message is getting out. You get interviewed on C-SPAN now. You're all over the place. I got a text this morning from my sister who said my mother, who's in their late 70s in Detroit, wants Alex Jones's books, wants his DVDs. I happen to have an in. I think I can help her.
They're in the mail. Yeah.
And she said she's obsessed with him. I've never heard her so obsessed about any guest you've ever had.
That's crazy. Your mom?
Yeah, she forgot about me.
Oh, no.
Of the Republican Party, which is why McCain
signed that for you?
shots in them. It's fascinating to me, folks. Here we have Republican primaries in which Democrats and independents are determined.
I love it.
It's important that you understand that.
That's more Geller. Give this to her. Tell Nancy.
Welcome back to Talk Fest 2008. Once again, here's George Noory.
Big round of applause for Mr. George Noory, please. Coast to Coast AM. George does very few of these visits to affiliates throughout the year, so we're very honored to have him here. It's a special occasion. And how many of these do you do in a year, George?
Well, we have 500 stations, so that's 500 different markets, and I do about 3 a year.
That's a great compliment to all of you all, and we're very honored to have you here.
One of
Thank you
them
very much.
is Los Angeles, so I really do 2 a year, I guess you could say.
Well, thank you. It's very cool to have you here. It's a great honor. Alex Jones is with us as well. You enjoy his show every Sunday afternoon on KLBJ and during the week as well. He's got a great show, a national show. 3:38 now as we take you up to 4 o'clock with TalkFest here live at the Austin Convention Center.
Do you know why I call Alex, Mark, the Bulldog?
Why do you call him the Bulldog?
Because once he bites you, he does not let go. And that's a sign of a good journalist.
Yes.
You're very sweet, George. But why do you pick to come to Austin? Because I feel blessed. I love getting to see you once a year. I mean, it's one of the treats of the year.
I like it. It's close to St. Louis, where I go back and forth.
Sometime you ought to come on vacation here, and we'll take you out on Lake Travis, cruise around.
What's a vacation?
Well, I don't get many either, but I mean, just sometime, come spend 2 or 3 days. We'll take you out on a boat, Lake Travis, in the summer. You know, big canyons.
I'll go the way of Natalie Wood with you. I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, no, but
Coast to Coast with Alex Jones. I bet you like that ring, don't you?
I don't know.
That's what this is all about.
Your show is more complex and multifaceted than mine. Mine is political warfare. And so it's basically, you know what it is.
After 1 week of listening to you on Coast to Coast, you would have governments surrender. They just give up.
I doubt that. I think you've got them ready to surrender with the smooth operator. That's what you're doing. Sneaking up on them.
Very good. Let's take some more questions from the floor here at TalkFest on KLBJ. Good afternoon, sir. What's your name?
My name is James.
Hey, James.
From Austin here. I'd like to welcome you to Austin, George Noory.
Yeah!
I'm a morning listener of your show. I have to listen via Streamlink.
You can, sure.
I wanted to ask Alex a question. On the beginning of your movie, The Endgame, Blueprint to Global Enslavement,
yeah.
you showed the Georgia Guidestones.
Yes.
Could you elaborate on this a little bit
Great
for us
story.
to give a little bit
Well, I'll
more?
just briefly elaborate. There's several Rosicrucian orders, but the Rosicrucians we've now discovered who got it decades ago and bought this property. They put up these giant monoliths, and it says that basically what the UN and others say: reduced world population of 500 million, and it's a cultic monument to how they want to do this. And this is their end game. This is their main goal. So we show that at the first and at the end of the film. Because these are very, very serious people. But it's not just the Georgia Guidestone. It's codified into the international policies of the United Nations, into most of the large foundations. Their goal is to wage war against humanity. The elite see us as a scourge. Their religion is enslaving us, dumbing us down, and killing us, and that's what they do. It's a very happy thought, I know, but at least we know what they're up to, and that's the good news we're exposing it. I know, George, you've covered the Georgia Guidestones.
We've done that, but you know what I wanted to ask you, Alex, and you touched on it last night on the program. What's the single most important facet of what you do that is beginning to concern you more than anything?
You mean what area of the world worries me most?
I don't mean geographically. I mean, what issue? Is it this push to control population?
I mean, obviously, the overall arching system of studying human activity, sociology, psychology, openly being, I mean, they write textbooks on it, to dumb down and control and divide and conquer the population. But of all the things they're doing that makes them the most reckless is their public development of race-specific bioweapons that target blacks, Asians, whites, I mean, even, subgroups of different varieties of Homo sapiens sapien, and all of the thousands and thousands of open-air testing of pharmacological crops, the genetic engineering of the food supply, all the top scientists and others I've interviewed, where they, give a GMO potato that's been approved to the rats, and all the rats die. I mean, just this is an environmental holocaust that's happening, and instead the very same globalists have founded and controlled the mainline environmental movement, which they're just pushing a global carbon tax to regulate and run our lives and fund their world government and tax CO2 that plants breathe. So they create the crisis, and they always come out with another false solution that gives them even more control. And there's already just incredible environmental degradation and problems in the biosphere, vandalism of the very genetic code of the planet, the life forms of the planet that interact together. And that's my greatest concern. I think it's more dangerous than the nuclear weapons, the atom bomb, of course, developing of the hydrogen bomb, and the neutron weapons they have, and all the other classified. The Air Force admits they've created antimatter bombs, but won't go further than that. They can destroy the whole solar system. That was in the San Francisco Chronicle. Nobody gave it any attention. It's just these people are nihilistic. They love death. Look at Caligula marrying his horse. Look at Nero going crazy and killing, half the leadership of Rome. Throughout history, psychopaths get into control. They want the power. And then once they get in that position, they just start killing people. And the greatest cause of unnatural death is governments. It's not guns. It's not automobiles. After cancer and heart attacks, natural cause of death, it's government. Government killed over 200 million people in the 20th century. And the very same families that engineered that are now engineering a mass attack on humanity. And I wish this wasn't the truth. It's a fact, and that's what Endgame's all about.